Hey, hi George. So nice to see you today.
Hey, Rafael. Nice to see you too. Good to see you.
Yeah, really good. I'm very happy that we have this time today to talk about your experience working together. And
Yeah.
I'm looking forward to hear about your experience, but also I'm hoping that this will also be a good experience for you to reconnect to the journey you've been through.
Yeah. Yeah. I hope it will help like some people too. Maybe.
Yeah, also yeah, some people will be relate to your experience and
Mm.
find something interesting for them, most likely, yes.
Yeah.
Yeah, so let's go back to the beginning of your journey. And so what was your situation before we you did the coaching program together with me, the Family Harmony Vision program? Where were you
Um,
at?
so we started in September 2021. At that time, I was living in Copenhagen. I was finishing my study in Denmark. I was living in Denmark, and I've been living in Denmark for like 3 years, 3.5 years. And I was finishing my studies while doing an internship in Copenhagen. So I started my internship for like a month, and I knew that I was starting like it was really the end of you know of a chapter for me because in January 2022 I was about to graduate. So there was this feeling of like, okay, this is the end of a chapter, and I need to prepare for a new one. Also, I was well at that time I was matched with Jeanette Tulin, my partner, and we were preparing ourselves for being blessed. Um, and so of course there was this big part we were working on. So I knew that like the end of 2021 was the end of an important step in my life, and I felt like I needed to prepare myself for the next one, which was
Mm,
going back to the work life, and maybe also living in Denmark, and probably going back to France. Uh, yeah, so all of those stuff were in my
wow.
head at that time.
Yeah,
So it
so
was,
yeah, so it was really a big time of transition, like moving from studies to, finding a job, maybe moving also geographically, moving
yeah,
from life as a single to life as a couple. So big
yeah,
transitions happening, yeah.
yeah, exactly. A lot of things. And I
And
was also
so,
alone in Copenhagen. I mean, I lived in a house, but I had a little studio in the house, so I could see the people the owners of the house. I could spend a bit of time with them, but not that much. And I was a lot of time. If I was not at work, I was mostly alone by myself. Because my Jared, my partner, she's from Sweden. She's living from in Sweden, and my family's from France, so they were in France. And most of my schoolmates were not with me in Copenhagen because they've been there. They were doing their internship all over the Europe.
mm,
So I was really just by myself, and it was also an important moment because I studied cartoon animation, and in this year we worked on our graduation film, and I was the director of that graduation film, and so I had a lot of responsibility for the film, and it was really, really, really intense with like finishing up the project while working with COVID and all this kind of stuff. So working from home, and I was completely exhausted. And so in some ways I was happy that I could have time for myself, like being completely alone. I also felt that I needed some time to be alone with myself in Copenhagen, and I didn't see a lot of people during that time, but I needed to be just with myself also. Like I felt like
mm,
I needed a lot of time to reflect.
mm. Yeah, so there was a period of time where you're quite alone, but you felt actually it was a good thing that you had this time to reflect. by
Yeah.
yourself at that time. Yeah.
Yeah.
And what was the main challenge for you? You know, we were saying that you had big transitions and happening. What was the main challenge being in that?
For me, the main challenge was that I was not completely sure where I was going. Like I knew that I had some goals. The two big goals were going to the blessing and, you know, getting a job, I guess, after I was done with my work, with my internship. But those two goals were, I mean, this is weird because in some ways they were quite precise, but in other ways they ask so many different questions. Like I didn't know
Mm,
if I was like finding a job where, I don't know, in France, somewhere else, in Europe, not in Europe. I didn't know staying in Denmark or not. Like there were so many things that I didn't really know. I couldn't really project myself where I would just be physically, like living physically.
mm,
What were the kind of opportunities? Um, yeah, like there was a part of myself that wanted to come back to France, but at the same time, it was like, well, I also want to go where the job is. So if it's not in France, it's somewhere else. But I didn't know what was exactly my priorities.
mm,
And I think maybe that was the thing. Like what was challenging at the time was that I could see that I had a lot of different challenge, or not maybe challenge, but like things I had to deal with in my life, things that were
mhm,
important. But among all of those things, I had a hard time evaluating which one were the priority.
yeah. That's what I want to hear
But
is that you had some clear goals, but they were not so clear. There was many different details that were not so clear,
yeah,
and also making priorities between these different details, the different choices, where to work, where to live, where to move, and all these things. Yeah.
yeah, exactly. Because, for example, at the beginning, I thought like, oh, after I graduate, I'm gonna go to Sweden, and you know, and then like, oh, but no, maybe I should wait. Maybe I should go back and see my family because I haven't lived with my family for 3 years and a half.
Mm,
Like, and I didn't know what was the most important. You know, like
yeah.
I couldn't really describe those things, and so I had an idea of where I was going, but I didn't really know how to go there. Uh,
Mm,
so I felt like a little bit like a floating leaf, you know, like
mm,
hoping that the wind will guide me the right
mm. Yeah. So that you were saying is that the way this problem was impacting you is that it was really difficult to make decisions
yeah,
because you didn't were not very clear on your priorities. Yeah.
yeah, exactly.
And how was this impacting you, like internally or externally speaking?
Yeah, it was. I felt quite stressful, and because what was stressful to me is that also before I went to Denmark, I actually was working. I was still working in the animation business, but the reason why I've decided to quit and go to Denmark and to go to that school, an international school called the Animation Workshop, because I wanted to improve myself and to open up. Like, oh, I feel a bit stuck in the work that I do, and so I want to go back to school, learn more, and with this in mind, have better opportunities in the future.
Mm,
And I was afraid that like now that I could see the end of it, and I was like, ooh, is that choice is really going to bring me the opportunities that I was hoping for at the first time,
mm,
uh,
mm, mm,
or so am I gonna get better jobs? Am I
mm,
really gonna get more interesting work? Did I really improve in my skills? All these kind of things were like in my head, because
mm,
it was a big decision, quitting everything, going to Denmark, um, with the hope of a better
mm.
future afterwards. And now the question was here, like, is my future actually going to be better? Was it
Yeah.
the right choice?
Wow.
Because you know it was also it was living abroad and everything. I mean, in many ways exciting, but it was also like, you know, the school was not free, so you had to, you know, pay
Invest,
money,
yeah. Hmm.
I had to invest, and you know, just living by myself in Denmark and all this kind of stuff. You know, it was not the easiest decision, but I mean, I'm super glad that I did it. But at some point, I started to kind of like doubt, like, my God, did I, you know, was it all worth it still?
Yeah. Wow. So yeah, not only you were like struggling with making choices in the present, but also
Yeah,
like even like thinking in the past, were the choices of the past really worth it?
yeah,
Now that I'm coming to some conclusion there, yeah. So a lot of worries and negative thinking around
yeah, exactly.
future choices and even past choices. Yeah.
Yeah, exactly. And
Mm.
yeah, it's and also the animation industry, it's quite of a competitive one. So there was also the thing of like, am I good enough to now? You know, am I good enough today? Uh,
Mm.
all those things.
Yeah.
And then regarding, yeah, of course, there was also the thing with the blessing, because we were with we so we were match in 2020, and so we were supposed to be blessed in April 2021, but last minute we didn't went to that blessing because it was too complicated because of COVID and other reasons.
Mm.
So we decided to, you know, okay, we're gonna go to the next one. But you know, saying that we're gonna go to the next one and leaving that time, you know, leaving that 1 year of waiting and preparing, you know, as soon as you don't have the ring, you know, there's always this, things are not always completely stable, I think. So there was this whole thing like, okay, like we really have to take this time to like create even a stronger foundation for
Mm.
our blessing, you know.
Yeah.
Um, so of course there was also this in my head, like, because I didn't want to make the same outcome that the last time, like, you know, not going in the blessing last minute,
Mm.
and having this real, you know, time. Yeah, no, like in April 2022, I will be blessed, and really
Mm.
preparing myself for not feeling, uh, you know, anxiety or stress
Yeah.
about it.
Yeah.
You know?
Oh, so it's interesting. So you decided to postpone going to the blessing to really be ready completely,
Yeah,
yourselves and in the relationship, and then but then this 1 year extra time that you gave yourself, then there was a question like, how much am I really preparing myself to really be ready this time? Yeah, and
yeah,
it's interesting because there's almost like a pattern between the decision to go back to kind of studies and make
yeah,
sure you're really ready for your professional project, but even you made this decision like still like, oh, is it really happening, am I really more ready? And
yeah,
actually a similar thing with the blessing, like, oh, I take 1 more year to really be ready for it, but then it's not necessarily that easy, or it's not
yeah,
automatic. Yeah.
yeah, exactly. Um, I think I was quite doubtful about myself, like
Mm.
in many ways about my personality.
Mm-hmm.
So that was kind of the things I was struggling with.
Yeah. And yeah, when going through these challenges and things like this, did you try any things to solve it, or were you considering, what were you trying to do to overcome this, indecision, doubt, lack of clarity?
Yeah, I think I'm lucky to have a twin brother with who quite close, and we understand each other quite well.
Mm.
So, and I've always been easy for me to share those kind of things with him. And so
Mm.
I think the way I dealt with this was mostly talking with people I was close with, like
Yeah.
my twin brother, or Jeanette, my partner,
Yeah.
or sometimes was my mom. So for me, like, I don't know if I was trying to solve things, but I was at least expressing it. Like I was
sharing it, yeah.
expressing, yeah, I was more
Mm,
like sharing.
yeah.
I was running inside my head and
Mhm.
kind of maybe probably looking for comfort also from other people more than anything.
Yeah. Wow.
Um, but
Hmm.
yeah, I think that was the way I dealt with it in some way.
Yeah.
Mm.
And when there was then this opportunity to work on to join this coaching program and to work with me, what made you decide to join that, to do that?
Yeah, I think first of all, I heard about the experience of like some people that did it with you in the past. I didn't heard a lot, but it was like, oh, it seems like they had like good experiences. And I remember talking like with my brother about this, like, oh, I think maybe it would be good if one day I could maybe see. At the time, I was thinking like, oh, a psychologist or somebody that was a bit more professional with those kind of questions or have to deal with those.
Mm,
And so when you offered me this opportunity, I think I said yes with not too much expectation. Like I was not in my mind. It was not like, okay, Rafa is gonna save me now. Like, or you know, like it was not really like this. It was more like I had already that trust on you because we worked together for other projects. And so I could like I had this trust already, and I knew that you've been working on all of those things for quite a long time. And I don't know. I felt like I just saw like, yeah, I guess I should just give it a try. Like it might be the perfect time actually to
mm,
try without really thinking too much about the decision. I just felt like, yeah, I think it could be good, and I didn't really overthinking it, which
yeah.
is rare. I used to. So it's
Okay.
funny. I'm a bit of an overthinker, but
Yeah.
this time the decision felt quite natural. So
Oh, wow.
it was more like maybe also because I was in my, as I said, I was in my little world, so it was easy to just do it, I think.
So yeah, you felt like a good timing for you to make that decision. There was the trust. You were already kind of interested, already exploring, like, oh, would it be good to get some help? And
Yeah.
so actually it kind of all came together at that moment, having time by yourself to work on yourself and things like this. And yeah, so there
Yeah.
was kind of nothing really holding you back to make that decision. Or what was there anything that you were kind of wondering, or like really, as you said, like, wow, this decision was easy,
No, I mean, no, I think it was just like, I mean, at that time, I remember I told you, but I was like, I didn't earn a lot of money, and because like I also going to living in Copenhagen made me did a lot of like sacrifice, financial sacrifice.
Yeah, compared
So
to living with your parents or something like this.
yeah, exactly. So and in my internship, I didn't earn that much money. It was just like enough to pay rent, basically, and then I had to count on my savings. So I was like, and I remember I told you, look, I can do it, but I'm not gonna be able to give that much. But you
Mm,
were cool, like it was that you said, well, you can give what you think you can give. And
mm,
so, and I think this also, I appreciated, like it was like, okay, like so
mm.
so maybe of course I did, I maybe there was a little thing that made me a bit
Yeah,
doubtful, but
yeah, of course. Yeah, for sure. Yeah, and then now, what do you think where would you be right now if you wouldn't have gone through that program? What do you feel like, we're expressing what you're struggling, like,
yeah.
uh,
Uh,
sometimes difficult to imagine, but if you would,
yeah, I think so. I guess where I am today, like in my life, basically, is that so the day we're talking is now May 2022. So it's been, yeah, half a year that we've been doing this.
Hmm,
Um, and now I'm living in France, and I got blessed.
yeah,
Uh,
congratulations.
yeah, 2022. So now I'm just I had a bit of a work experience after graduation, but in Denmark actually. Then I came back from in France because I also felt that it was the right thing to go back to France. And was well, I kind of like still looking for a job, even though I might have an opportunity to teach online now, which is a good thing. So I think if I hadn't done your coaching, maybe in a more material viewpoint, I don't know if a lot of things would have been that much different. I think what would have been different, though, it was probably how I would have faced those last months, basically, because it has been a bit, tough for me, like having a bit of a hard time. I mean, which is normal when you graduate, do not always get the job you want in the first place. But like, I think if I haven't had those coaching sessions with you, I would have probably more of a difficult time to live it. Like I would have probably more stressed and worried about it. Of course, there was time still today where I came up with struggles and felt quite anxious about my situation. But having you, like, at least like every 2 weeks, giving me that perspective, I think helped a lot to overcome and not giving up. And so I think it's mostly like what changed is mostly the mindset, how you deal with your situation, because problem will come anyway.
Yeah.
So it's more like how you deal with it, how you decide to deal with it.
Yeah, so you feel like if you wouldn't have gone through the program, most likely it would have been much more difficult for you to navigate through all these transitions, and the way you would have been like experiencing all these transitions and having uncertainties, not having immediately the results you want, and things like this.
Yeah, exactly. And it's also it's just like it's the fact that we were also in group session, like seeing like other people's experiences, but where they are in their life. It really helps, I think, to I don't know, like keep the right attitude.
Yeah, so the group has a lot of impact on how the mindset and the attitude you have as well, you feel like.
Yeah, it's a good backup.
Yeah, wow. And how were the first few weeks of the program? How was your experience at the beginning?
I think I remember being quite I remember I was actually quite excited with the I was actually quite surprised, because I wouldn't have expected to talk about things that were really concrete, to like, it was really down to earth, like
Okay.
Even because at the beginning you start with, like, you have those big, like you see your life in all of those different points, like
The different life categories. Yeah,
exactly. Career, relationship, spirituality, all the things, and all of them can kind of like sound like big words, but the way you kind of like we just dig into it, and we're not just like saying, okay, this is my situation, but taking like, okay, this is your situation, and adding something that is a bit more how can I say this, still with the idea of putting perspective. I think it's the key word for me, is that you put perspective in every of those aspects, and then you really trying to think, okay, what is the vision, what is what you want in your life, in that category. What is that you want for your couple relationship, what is that you want for your spiritual life, what is it that you want for
so what you enjoyed is actually looking not just at these categories from the general point of view, but actually really looking at what you really want in a very concrete way.
Yeah, exactly. It's kind of like finding the bridge between ideal life and real life, like
Mm,
there can be a bridge between those two, and there is not always, it doesn't have to be a contradiction.
Yeah.
And for me it was quite like, oh yeah, it's quite hopeful,
Yeah.
um because it was something that of course was, I always been worrying about.
Mm. Yeah.
Um,
So it was really good to see the bridge between the ideals and the reality, that there's a bridge to actually.
yeah, exactly. Yeah, that was probably the thing that excited me the first week. It's like, okay, like there's actually ways to create bridges between an ideal world or an
Mm,
ideal lifestyle and the reality of your lifestyle. Like
mm.
like trying to aim for the vision. Sorry, for the
Yeah, don't
vision
worry.
that you want, uh, while not, but while still be connected with your own reality, sort of.
Mm. Yeah, so working the vision while being connected to reality, not lying to yourself, being honest with yourself with where you
Yeah.
are, but also while, yeah, wow. And yeah, what were the challenges that you faced going through the program?
I think the biggest challenge for me was that, um, because, as I said earlier, I had a lot of things going on in my mind. So sometimes I had a kind of like, I could easily forget about, the program, and the coaching and what we just learned and what we just talked about. We could, in the moment you're like, oh my god, yes, 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 and then the next day, as soon as you're
Mm,
going back to the same habits, to the same
mm,
way of thinking, to the same,
yeah,
and so what is hard is like to really learn how to use what you learn,
mm,
and putting in your life,
yeah,
and that's the, yeah, that's the hard part sometimes. Like
yeah, yeah,
I see
mm,
sometimes myself like acting in such a way, and then I'm like, oh my god, I knew that I could have just taken more time preparing my day. If I took more
mm,
time to prepare my day, reflect on my day, I wouldn't have done that mistake. Like,
mm.
so that was
Wow.
maybe the things that was a bit hard.
Mm-hmm.
Uh, yeah, because you can easily feel busy, and
Yeah.
yeah, and then forget about it.
Yeah. I mean, it's so we live in a world right now where it's so easily busy in our lives, and it's so difficult already to take the time to reflect, take a step back, have perspective.
Mm.
And what you're saying is that even going through the program, even that it helped you a lot, still you could be easily drawn back to these challenges of actually not really taking the time to really integrate the things that you're learning actually in your life.
Yeah.
Yeah, just being overcome by busyness. Yeah, and,
Yeah, exactly.
yeah.
And like
And
having,
how? Mhm.
like, you over your life, you create habits, you create patterns.
Mm.
Like you have patterns in the way you think, and those patterns are so strong that you can easily go back to them.
Yeah. Yeah. And so, yeah, how did you manage to kind of face these challenges and maybe overcome them? Like what?
I think what I learned, or I trying to do at least over the month, was like, first of all, not feeling guilty every time I went back to the old habits,
Mm.
to the same patterns or way of thinking. Trying to be like, okay, it's okay,
Mm.
it's all right. It's gonna take time to get rid of those habits anyway.
Mm.
But so trying to build right habits little by little, like,
Yeah.
and trying to just do like, okay, at least, George, if you can do a list in the morning, like a
Mm.
list of the thing you have to do. If you
Mm.
can at least do that, that will improve so much of your lifestyle. And this is
Mm.
easy. Like it takes 5-10 minutes maximum to
Mm.
do it in the morning. Like, okay, today I need to do this. That's it. And just having that, um, yeah, it helps. Like it really helps to change your the software. It's like putting
Yeah,
a new updated software.
updated software. Okay, yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah,
in your
changing the habits, making habits that makes you more, give you more peace of mind,
yeah,
makes you more productive, makes you focus on what's really important.
yeah, exactly.
Yeah, and then not feeling guilty when you don't manage, and actually just
Yeah,
just
yeah,
trying again and again. Yeah, because it just, as you said, it just takes time to develop those
yeah,
new habits. Yeah.
yeah. But that's the thing. Like it's also easy to. I mean, I have this tendency of easily accusing myself. So if yeah. So I think it helps me like to be like, okay, it's okay. That was those little things that improves and makes my life easier. I think.
Mm,
And again, it's um like I could go. Yeah, sometimes I would go for a walk or something,
hmm
and I was just like, rethink and be like, okay, it's okay. You need to take time. You need to take time. Like don't rush things. Uh,
mm,
don't rush things. And like I have to. It's sometimes if it was like me saying this to myself, sometimes it was just like Regis, my twin brother, who like we do the coaching with, and he
hmm
would be the one telling me. But remember what Raphael like said, like take time, like yeah, take your time.
mm,
So if it's not from me or for you, it could be with someone who also did the coaching
yeah,
and have like can sort of like bringing back um those tools.
yeah. So having your brother on the journey also was an extra support,
Yeah,
extra
yeah,
reminder, and things like
yeah.
this. Yeah.
Yeah.
Wow. Yeah.
That's why
So
I
you
think
meant.
it's great if you can do this program with someone you're close with, which is your partner or your brother or sister, it's great because then you have someone with you who can literally help you and
Yeah.
bring you back those tools, those keys that you learned together. Because
Mm.
like this, like if you forget, then maybe that person won't forget. So I really
Yeah.
like doing this also as a couple or as with people you're feeling close with or that you see regularly. Mm.
Mm. Wow. Yeah. Yeah. I hear there's a lot about, learning how to take time and things like this. And yeah, and can you share a bit more about how things have changed in your life today? I mean, concerning this point and maybe other points as well that you didn't mention so far. What has changed in your life right now?
Um, I think I get what things have changed most is like I think I it's more about how I'm trying to visualizing my situation more
Mm.
how I'm trying at least to approach a problem or a complicated
hmm
situation. Um, Sometimes still if in the moment if there's something that happens that and maybe I will probably face it with like the same glass that I used to have, like when feeling
Yeah.
super stressed and not putting perspective and everything. But then maybe I don't know, 4 hours later or the next day, I will switch and have new glasses and with
Yeah.
so I might not always have the right attitude at the moment, but at least I will have it.
Mm.
It's not today, tomorrow, like so. I think this helps, to and then it helps me to overcome and not giving up, and
Mm.
so it's okay. Like it's okay to not having all the perfect habits
Yeah.
today,
Yeah.
But,
It's
when
you kind of,
important
what
is
you're describing is like that you have more and more awareness of what's happening,
yeah,
whether you're doing something that's really productive and positive for you. And when you're
yeah,
noticing that you're not doing it, then at least you quite quickly become aware of it instead of like going this direction for such a long time and
yeah,
getting lost.
Yeah, exactly. I think it's probably the what is important is that you exactly you're more aware of when you're going the wrong way. I think it takes you
Mm.
less time to realize
Yeah,
that
yeah,
you're going to the right to the wrong path
yeah.
before. So you're still going the wrong path, but at least you're realizing it sooner, which
Yeah.
which is
Well,
better. Hopefully, in the future, you will not even have to go to the wrong path. But
it's interesting you share that. I like the image of like an airplane, that goes from point A to point B, the destination. And what's interesting is that most of the time the airplane doesn't point exactly at direction B, at destination B.
uh,
It's 90% of the time at least just
yeah,
pointing somewhere in this direction and constantly adjusting to finally get to point B.
right.
So maybe it's just about that, just being that airplane
Yeah,
that is never actually exactly pointing to the destination, but is constantly have all the
mm,
feedback, more like internal feedback in lives of what's going on, or maybe outside feedback from people around us as well, and
hmm
taking into account to readjust and things like this.
yeah,
Mm.
yeah, exactly. Yeah, it's like you. I don't know. Yeah, you somehow you train your conscience in
Mm.
or at least you train yourself to um listen to yourself, I guess. Like you learn I think I learned how to listen to myself a little bit better.
Mm. When you
Yeah.
say listen to yourself, what do you mean? Like listen to what?
Like listen and feel like, okay, is it really what you want?
Mm.
Is it really something that you're doing for the right reason?
Mm.
Uh, what are the reasons why you're doing this? Um, and not just like going somewhere without thinking because just of a pure emotional reaction.
Mm. Yeah, so listening to your heart, basically, basically listening more to your heart. Yeah. Mm. Yeah, and yeah, how does it impact your daily life? Like in your daily right now, how are you experiencing this difference?
Mm, for example, I'm trying to. So my dream job is to work um, as what we call in the animation cartoon animation as working in what you call the visual development. So it's basically working in the first step of when you're making a film. So you have all of those artistic decisions to make. It's kind of like when you have like this white paper and you're like, okay, why are we what exactly are we gonna put it? And I really love this part, like the first part of like what is the ideas, how do you create, what will be the characters, how they're gonna look like, what colors are we gonna use, etc. etc. But this part is super competitive, and it's like you have to be really good to be part of this. And so I'm often tempted to give up.
Mm.
Because it's a hard path, it's complicated, it's a lot of competition, and it's really like you might not be there like right after you got out of school.
Mm.
Some people do because they're really talented. Some people maybe it takes 10, 20 years to get there, right?
Mm.
But that's the thing. Before, for me, if I'm saying to myself, okay, if I'm not there in 2 years, then I failed. Like, you know, I failed and I'm gonna do something completely different. But now in my head it's like, well, maybe I'm not gonna be there in 2 years. Maybe I'm gonna be there in 10 years. Who knows? And maybe like you were saying with the plane, like to go to that direction, I would probably have to go to many different things that are
Mm.
not exactly what I want, but they are little steps that help me getting where I want to be.
Mm.
And now, if let's say, in order to go to this final destination, I need to go paths that are a little bit out, like a little bit more to the left or more to the right. I'm less afraid today to go a little bit
Mm,
left or a little bit right, because it's like it's okay. It's not me failing if I
yeah.
go
Wow.
like this or that. It's just me, adjusting with where I am and what are the opportunities that I have, and without forgetting where I want to go and what I want to build. And so you're
Wow.
kind of like putting time, it's like it's okay to have time, and how you're gonna
Mm,
spend that time. That's what it's important more.
wow.
And of course, like there are days where I completely go back with my same habits, and I'm like, I'm a failure. I'm never gonna be able to do it. I should give up. But I know, like, then the next day, after taking a good shower, and you're like, no, that's okay. It might take the time it'll take, but I'll get there if I really want to.
Wow.
If I really felt that I want to do that, I'll get there. So I think this is
Mm,
more the kind of things where my perspective changed. So maybe still, like today in my life, I'm still in that point where I'm not there yet, but
yeah.
I'm trying to, and like here, like I'm saying this as as a career example, but it works for everything. Like it works with like all of those steps, like what I want to build as a family, as a couple relationship, where I want spiritual life, what I want to, all of those aspects in your life is this. You can see it the same way. You're like, okay, my ultimate vision for a family's life is this, but maybe I'm gonna get there in, I don't know, 30 years. Who knows? Like that's okay, because in the meanwhile, I'm just gonna build brick by brick the foundation to
Wow.
get there, and might have goes ups and down, and it's okay, So that's the thing, is it's this big, like, it's okay, you know,
Mm.
it's okay, no worries. Just
Yeah. So
as
having
long as
this,
you, as long as you, as long as you're always clear with the why, like why you're
mm,
doing this, why you want to go there,
mm,
then if you feel that you're aligned with your why, then you're good.
mm. Yeah. So if you like knowing the vision, the ideal vision of where to go and why it's important for you, it helps you to navigate the daily challenges,
Yeah,
the fact that you're not exactly there immediately, or where, and even when you have moments where you feel like a failure again, you're able to reconnect to that vision
yeah,
and to that why
yeah.
quite easily. Yeah. Again. Yeah. Mm.
Yeah, and it works for me, but it also works for like how I see other people. Like for example, my partner at the moment, she works, she works, but I know that the work that she does is not necessarily what she wants to
Hmm.
do in the future. And before the coaching, my situation was most feel like I felt a bit stressed, like is she, you know, is she gonna make it, or like what if she, or you
Yeah.
know um, is she doing what it's needed to make it, or those kind of
Mm.
questions. But now I'm just like, well, no, if she'll be there when she'll be there, and that's okay. Like it's
Wow.
okay. Like it's okay. Like so, even myself, for her, I don't feel
Yeah.
the same stress that I might have in the future. Like
Yeah.
um, because I'm trying to put the same kind of like vision
Mm.
regarding her, regarding her own situation, and hopefully I will have the same. Hopefully, I hope that I could have also the same reaction the day I have children. Maybe I have children who will be, I don't know, who will have no idea of what they want to do in life. They will be bad at school and they will be completely dropouts. But hopefully, I will still have this mentality of be like, well, it's okay. Like as long as we are sure to create the right vision,
Yeah.
then it might not be the straight path, but I could hopefully guide my children to go towards that goal.
Wow.
You know. So this
Yes.
is like what I'm trying to build.
Yeah. Yeah. So you feel so much more trust about your path, and you actually started to see that you feel that trust also for other people, and including your partner, and you're
Yeah,
hoping to also be able to have that trust also for your future children.
Yeah,
Yeah.
definitely. I
Wow.
think it's really important. I mean, it's really important. Again, like it's not. I'm definitely not
Yeah.
always like this, but I know that now. I know that I can think like this.
Yeah.
That I
Yeah.
can have that way of thinking, and
You've connected to this part of yourself. You've connected, and you can reconnect to it again.
yeah,
Even when you
exactly.
disconnect from it, you can reconnect to it again. Yeah.
Yeah, exactly.
Mm. Well, how do you feel about this? How do you feel about?
Yeah, it's quite. It's fine. Like just talking about it, also I can feel less. Like there's a weight that
Mm.
is I don't know if it's gone, but this is less heavy. Like you can feel it
Yeah.
like you can it helps to approach life as something as less heavy, like less worry, less
Mm. Wow. Yeah. And what do you think helped you the most to do that shift from being very lots focused a lot on doubts, stress, and anxiety and things like this, and being anxious, to moving to where you are able to connect more to trust and motivation,
mm.
even though there's ups and downs? What helped you the most to make that shift?
Well, I think first of all, I think it's like a lot of the teaching from your side. Like I think just like
Mm-hmm.
with simple words, you sort of just switch the glasses, like how you approach a problem. I think this is really what makes a difference is to have the right tools to approach them to approach
Mm,
a stressful situation. And I think you've been working a lot on this, and so you have easy. I think what's nice that you have easy, down to earth ways of approaching things that help me to sort of like little by little switching
mm,
my state of mind. I'll say. Um,
yeah.
Also, I mean, again, like as I said earlier, I'm someone who can easily share and talk, and if I feel stressed or if I feel worried, or I will share it with people. And especially I'm also quite lucky to my partner Jeanette. She well, not my wife actually, or less.
Yeah.
uh, she is actually really good at having this attitude, I'll say. Like it's okay,
Mm,
don't worry about this, you'll get there, like this. So I'm quite lucky to have
wow.
someone who have this mindset. And she
Mm,
many times she told me like, yeah, don't I remember one day it was like talking about like how I was thinking of like changing my career because like, I thought that I wouldn't make it or something. And she said something like, yeah, just like give your dream a try, like it's like just
mm,
give your dream a try. And
yeah.
I think it really, yeah, it was really what I
Mm,
needed to hear, like.
oh,
So
yes.
yeah, I guess I'm lucky also for that. Like, so I think it's important. Like, it's crazy how the influence that also the mindset that the other people have around you really helps you. Like, if you're
Mm,
around with people who are like always gonna look down, like, now, but you should just do something else and be a bit pessimistic. So
wow.
it really influenced you also. Um,
Mm-hmm.
and so yeah, I felt like I'm quite lucky that I've been surrounded. And the good thing with the coaching is that you it maybe because maybe yourself you may be living in a situation where I don't know, people of your family or people at work or a bit negative. And so having those coaching sessions offer you at least this opportunity in the week to have this moment you know of positivity in some ways, without being
Mm,
again unrealistic, but like just this moment of like, okay, no, you can actually go there if you want to. You just have to
mm,
think how you're gonna what will be the decision that you will make in your daily day life.
mm. Yeah, wow. Yeah, it's interesting how you shared that there was one side like the teaching, the tools, and then the kind of right guidance at the right moment from my side, and then also the support from your wife and the group. And it's interesting how you shared it because studies have been shown that the best things, three best things for breakthroughs are having a clear like curriculum or system, having like a mentor or coach that is guiding you, and then having a group or people just supporting you on the journey. And it seems like this is also the different aspects that you felt like helped you the most. Yeah.
Yeah. It really helps for sure.
Wow.
For sure. So I mean, of course, like I'm lucky from this environment for sure.
Yeah. Great. Yeah. So thank you so much for sharing your journey here. Is there anything else you'd like to share or to add to, people who might listen to us?
Well, first of all, thank you, Rafael, again. It's I know you put a lot of work on this, and you can clearly see the fruit of. I know also for yourself it was a big decision to, go there, but I think you can be proud of the fruit it brings. I think, I don't know, like it's also something that I'm saying this for everybody as an advice, but also it's mostly for me, but it's I think it took be patient, and be patient and be kind with yourself.
Yeah. Wow.
Like I think it's the two best things that you can bring to yourself. Be patient and be kind to yourself.
Yeah. Wow. Yeah, thank you for sharing that. Yeah, I think it's very important. That's why it's important to have a vision that is in a certain way quite realistic, but quite far away, so that you have that space and that patience to actually build it, as you mentioned it, brick by brick, by adjustment and experiences. And wow, great. Thank you so much again, George, for sharing your experience with everyone else. Great job also for the changes you were able to make. And good luck for, and it seems like luck is on your side, as you mentioned. So I'm not worried about this. So
thank you.
Thank you. All the best. Take care.
See you, Rafael. Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.